The woman's shopping bag burst. A red apple fell out of it, fell on the road and started rolling. The woman immediately took the bag. My bike was behind that bike. They were probably husband and wife and went home after buying the apple. The husband was driving a motorcycle while the wife was sitting with a bag of apples on her lap. The bag burst and an apple came out and started rolling on the road. There was a rush on the road. Dozens of cars, motorbikes, and bicycles were passing by. I felt that the apple would be crushed by some tire, but the apple moved fast and rolled, avoiding every car, every tire. He reached the side of the road. There was a pallet on the bank and a beggar was sitting on the pallet. The apple rolled near the beggar and bounced like a ball into his range. Cleaned it and started eating dirt. He was also smiling, looking at the sky. I stopped the bike, greeted him and asked him how this apple reached you. The beggar laughed and said, I just complained to Allah, or Allah, it has been a while since your servant ate an apple. If you please, I will also go and taste the apple of the season, and then I do not know where this apple came from. Came and jumped to my hand. The beggar then started thanking me. Tears came to my eyes. I shook hands with the beggar and moved on. This incident was enough to open my eyes. A friend told me this incident a few days ago. It was a simple incident, but because I am reading the translation of the Holy Quran today, it went straight to my heart. And mentions mercy. He repeatedly says that I am your Lord and no one can give or take away anything in the world unless I want. Just thank me and forgive your mistakes and ignorance. But keep repenting. As I continue to read the Quran, my eyes are opening. This light, this attraction, and this guidance is only His grace. This is also only His grace, His mercy. He said twice, only the wise accept the advice. What a glorious and eternal saying. Indeed, wisdom and grace are great blessings of Allah. We cannot even mention His name without His will and permission. However, I heard this incident in this state and tears came to my eyes. How does Allah prove His existence through small events? A white tourist came to me a few years ago. He came to Pakistan to explore Urdu. A friend introduced him to me. I offered him tea and put the pakodas. He looked at the two things for a long time and then shyly asked, do you serve these two things to all your guests? I smiled and replied, no, this is the first time. We usually cook our guests. Serve with dessert. My wife suddenly made pakoras today for no reason and I picked them up and placed them in front of you. She turned around and said, I saw some people in Urdu eating this thing, pakoras, with milk tea. Yes, I thought at that time, if I come here again, I will definitely try this. I was thinking the same thing while coming to your house. When you put these two things in front of me, I was surprised and I thought, it's just a coincidence, or you guys are magicians. I laughed and replied, it's just a coincidence. He also laughed in response and then enjoyed the pakoras to his heart's content. One of my friends has a very open heart in the matter of charity and charity. He also gives charity and charity every day. I used to not agree to drink even a glass of water. 7 years ago today, my money was stuck with someone. I sat in the office and thought that if I get this money, I should give 10% of it in the way of Allah. Granted, I got the money the very next day. I was stingy, so I started walking away with the promise, but then a strange thing happened. My clerk came to me and said, Sir, I have to pay my daughter's university fees. You can give me an advance and later this amount will be deducted from my salary little by little. I made a bad face and told him. He asked, how much money do you need? He took out the fee challan from his pocket and placed it in front of me. 52,403 rupees were written on it and this amount was exactly the amount that I had to give in charity. I took it as a message and immediately paid it. Next time, I kept 20,000 rupees on the table and waited for someone in need. A girl came to me that day. She wanted 20,000 rupees for her mother's medicine. I handed over the notes to her, and after that, as much money as I think of daily, the need comes to me. Allah is giving and I am giving from what He has given. Hakim Barber is an old friend of mine. He is an expert in lottery and prize bond. He always wins prize bond and lottery. I don't spend a single penny on myself. I distribute all this money among the needy, so the more needy people are, the bigger my bond comes out and I distribute this money among them. I asked, and what do you do if you don't have a bond? We started talking. After half an hour a lady called. Her daughter was getting married. She wanted 2.5 lakh rupees. Asked Hakim Barber, do you have 2.5 lakh rupees? They laughed and said, no, but if Allah has sent a needy person, he will send money now. Our sitting Hakim Baba received a call from his employee and he said, "Sir, we are getting a big order from Quetta. These people want immediate delivery at the asking price." Hakim looked up at the sky and then at the salesman. Said, "You take 2.5 lakh rupees extra from them and give delivery." After that, Hakim Baba looked at me and said, "Why did you understand?" I shook my neck in yes. I found out that day that resources depend on demand. The truer the demand of man is, the more resources Allah creates. You get what you ask from nature. If a patient asks for healing, he will get healing. If a poor person asks for happiness, he will get happiness. For a seeker of knowledge, his quest will lead him to the ocean of knowledge, and the desire for success will take a person out of the pit of failure. The desire for peace will turn a common man into a Buddha, and the desire for power will prevail over man's lesser strength. God's system is activated by man's desire, his demand and his yearning. You keep asking Allah and then keep trying, the doors of nature will open anyway. My team booked my personal session with a gentleman in South Korea a few days ago. When I started chatting with him online, I was shocked to hear his story. He was from a very poor family. He wanted to lift his family out of poverty since he was a child. The person he worked with in Islamabad knew Korean. He started learning Korean in his spare time. He applied to a Korean company. He was interviewed. He answered in Korean. He got the job and today his whole family has come out of poverty. Now they want to shift to America. Asked, "How will you go from South Korea to America?" His answer was, "I will go to America like I came from Ankara to Islamabad and from Islamabad to Korea." I asked what will be the final formula. He laughed and replied, "I have been asking Allah for US citizenship for 3 years. I am sure Allah will grant me this too." I agreed with him. Why? Because I have also experienced hundreds of times. Allah never disappoints those who ask. There is no denial in the court of Allah. Only the demand must be true and the yearning must be genuine. Nature never disappoints a person.